This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to Covered in Pet Hair, a boozy show for pet lovers on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Isabel Alvarez-Arata, and today I have the pleasure of having a drink and a chat with a cat lover that is trying to make cats 9 lives the best they can possibly be and give them 10. I will tell you all about her and introduce you as soon as we come back from these messages from our sponsors. Hi, I'm Isabel Alvarez-Arata, the host of Covered in Pet Hair. You know the expression, cats have 9 lives? Well, what if you could give them one more? The Give Them 10 movement is on a mission to help give cats an extra life. How? With spay and neuter. Spaying and neutering your cat helps them live a longer, healthier life, and it helps control free-roaming cat populations too. Learn more about the benefits of spay and neuter and meet Scooter The Neutered Cat at GiveThem10.org. That's GiveThem10.org.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Covered in Pet Hair. I'm your host, Isabel Alvarez-Arata, and today I have the pleasure of having a drink and a chat with a pet parent, a rescue advocate. She's a banker and a fiduciary. She's wife to Alex, cat mom to Yasmita and Grigio. She's originally from Houston, Texas, and was raised and now lives in the Cincinnati area. She is the director of the Joanie Bernard Foundation and the founder of Give Them 10, a movement to promote spay and neuter in cats. She is Deborah Cribbs. Welcome. It's so good to have you on the show, Deborah.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and to have a drink and a chat.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I love having a drink and a chat with a fellow cat lover who loves a pun about cats, and we're going to have a lot of punny chats about cats today. But first, I want to introduce my drinking game for the day, and for those tuning in, either on video or on Pet Life Radio, anytime you hear this word,
the secret word is spectacles.
Take a drink of whatever you're enjoying, but please be over 21 in the U.S. to partake in an alcoholic beverage. Never drink and drive, and always drink responsibly. So there's a video that Give Them 10 has out, and if you guys haven't seen it, you have to look it up. It goes through like historic times about how some people love cats and how people just don't like cats. And at one point in like 1972, in this chronological, history of cat-loving people, there's 2 guys arguing about whether or not you can have cats in the bar. Cats in the bar, not allowed. Cats in the bar, always allowed. In my bar, they're always allowed. I have a cat named Van Gogh who always gets to have a little bit of, something cat-friendly while I'm making anything in the bar, at the kitchen, anything. So what are you joining us with today? And is it cat friendly?
Well, I have tea with lemon today, and Grigio is nearby right down there, and he does not care for tea with lemon. He thinks he does, but then as soon as he gets close to it, no, he doesn't.
No, exactly. So I just purchased a tea for cats that is like basically like a catnip infusion where you're supposed to brew it and just kind of let it cool and then just leave it out for your cat to lap up. And I haven't made it yet because, life's busy to be making cat tea for cats. But I'm going to get there. I feel like one day I'm going to get to the point where I feel like I'm relaxing enough that me and my cat can both have a cup of tea together. But in the meantime, I'm having coffee, a strong, sweet coffee topped with whipped cream, which again, he can share the whipped cream, but just not the coffee. So cheers. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Cheers to you.
Okay, well, I want to get into Give Them 10. I'm wearing the Give Them 10 t-shirt. Gonna show. It's hip to be snipped. So the t-shirt says it's hip to be snipped for those that are listening. I am wearing it. It's awesome. I love the colors. It's black t-shirt with bright orange writing, the photo or the, sketch of a cat wearing sunglasses who's supposed to be Scooter the Neutered Cat. And we're going to dig into Scooter and get to know Scooter. But first, because we're talking about spay and neuter, I want to bust some myths with a game that I've called myth snipping, of course, because we're talking about spay and neuter. So let's snip some myths. Are you ready to play?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when people are asked if they're going to spay or neuter, often their response is, I want to, but it's expensive.
Oh gosh, that's the most common response. And my answer to that is to bust that myth. Most areas of the United States have high volume, low cost spay neuter centers nearby. Look them up online, and I'm sure you can access them. As a matter of fact, in the Cincinnati area, if you take a cat in a trap to one of our shelters that participates, you might even get the spay neuter free. But no, that is a myth. If you look around, you can find a good price.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Next myth. My indoor cat doesn't need to be snipped.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to bust that one. First of all, your indoor cat, male or female, probably has, they're not fixed, probably has some habits that are not in favorite thing. Females go in heat. They make lots of noise when they're in heat, wanting to get out and do the thing that nature does tell them to do. Boy cats spray. These are not good household behaviors. If they spay neuters, chances are they won't do that behavior. So I'll just stop right there. That's enough to say, yes, your cat does need to be fixed. And by the way, that female will do everything she can to get out. And if she gets out, she's going to get pregnant. She does need to be fixed. She'll be happy. You, the human, will be happier.
Yes, it's behavioral, it's safety. These escape artists get really, really, really risk-taking. You know, they start taking a lot of risks to get out of the house when they are, feeling randy.
Especially for the female, way better for her health. There's a lot of data that says the cancer she will not get if she's fixed.
Yes, absolutely. The next one is kind of funny to me, but I did take this off of the Give Them 10 website. My cat's going to get fat if I snip him or her. I mean, that's not how you said it on your website. That's how I interpreted it, but I laughed out loud.
That is kind of funny. Okay, I'm going to say it depends. I'm going to be honest. I'm a lover of cat. I'm a cat household person from the beginning of time. But if a cat is spay neutered and not given an opportunity to have some kind of activity, really any, let's take a step back. An indoor cat has an opportunity to get fat. We all know this. The vets know it. We know it. We really shouldn't let our cats get fat because then they could have diabetes. It's not good for them. It's not good for humans. It's not good for pets. If you get them fit, it is true. A male cat's not going to have as much wanderlust. Very true. Mm-hmm. They stay closer to home. A little less exercise quite naturally there. So I'm going to say as a human, you might have to either watch their eating if you're controlling it inside, or try to help them exercise a little bit. But I still say the pros way, way, way outweigh any tiny little cons.
Agreed. I mean, we were all indoor cats during the pandemic, and some people ran marathons and some people gained weight. So it really depends on the activity, the food consumption, calorie consumption, and just overall health. And I always say that our cats and dogs are not opening the fridge and helping themselves to things. Like, we control the amount of food and how often they get it. So we need to use that power to keep them healthy. Next one. My kitten is too young to make kittens.
Oh my goodness gracious. Vets vary on their guidance. And in my experience, the high volume, low cost spay neuter centers are a little bit more aggressive in their time. But I'm going to say, just as a general average, I'd love to hear what you say. They can actually get pregnant between 6 and 8 months. So no, they need to be spayed when they get in the shelter system. The standard has been for a long time. They will spay neuter at 2 pounds, and actually even hearing a little bit less than that lately from some shelters. So very small.
Very small. And you know what? So long as they've gotten all the checkups that they need, the vet will determine whether or not. So take your pet to the vet. Take your kitten to the vet from a healthy young age, and then plan with your vet. So maybe your vet is a little more conservative, but kittens getting spayed and neutered is very common, very normal, and very healthy for them because, like you said, it can prevent certain forms of cancer down the line. My cat won't be the same if I spay or neuter him or her.
That's not fair. That's a very common myth. And I'm going to bust that and say, man, I've certainly had lots of experience. I'm sure you have. Aside from what we just said, which, okay, the boy kitties might become a little bit lazier. Although I would say, again, my experience, a little bit more close to the house if they are community cats. They're even a little bit more loving, I think, but they do not lose their personality. The myth really is often around the boy kitties. They lose their macho-ness. Not true. Bust that.
Ugh. Yes, the macho thing is so silly to me. It's like, this isn't you we're snipping. This is your cat we're snipping. If the cat is an extension of your manhood, we've got a problem. Okay, but that's a conversation for another time. Yes. What about my cat should have the opportunity to be a mama or papa cat?
I think there are lots of fun things your cat could do, but that's just not an experience that she needs or he needs to have. I mean, let's be honest. The boy kitties don't have anything to do with it. They're sort of hit and run kind of thing. And the girl kitties, really? You want to saddle them with all that responsibility? All that anguish, the pain, the anguish? No, they don't need that responsibility. That is what we call anthropomorphizing. You are taking your human values and putting them on your companion animal unnecessarily. Bust.
100%. I love the way you answered that. Anybody who has seen a mama cat with like 6 kittens biting her at all her nipples and her having to stimulate them to go potty and having to keep them warm and never getting enough food to feel full and satiated for however long it takes, 6 to 8 weeks until they wean. OMG, it's so much work. No cat needs that. Like, they don't see it the way we do. This is not a legacy they're trying to leave for the world. This is just them being healthier and happier overall once they don't have to be mamas. Agreed, 100%. Last one. My cat was expensive. It's a purebred, and I want to have kittens so that I can get my money back on my investment.
Okay, on this one, on my opinion, I set aside the whole phenomenon of show cats.
Of course.
And believe it to be a place where cats are very well cared for. I might even believe that they like what they're doing, but I believe that they're very well cared for. I don't think cats are the place that we make investments. Remember what my job is? I'm a banker. That's not an investment. So I would suggest do the world a favor and rescue a cat. Get a color that you like, fine, but rescue a cat. Stop buying cats. I wish that didn't exist, but again, I'm gonna set that aside if they're really show cats. Buying a designer cat, I'm sorry, no from me, because you're not helping the world. And it would really help the world if you would go rescue a cat. So I do have a little judgment on that one.
It's okay to judge. I think that purebred or pedigree breeding has its place. Like you, CFA opened my eyes to so many things that these breeders are doing to ensure a wonderful lineage. They are not selling their cats until they are spayed or neutered. Yes, because they don't want you making money off of the investment and destroying the line that they've worked so hard to maintain, right? And to create. So outside of that very specific niche area, I completely agree with you. First of all, don't invest in a cat. Get a cat from the shelter. There are so many beautiful cats. I have a Russian blue mix that I actually call a Las Cruces blue because I picked him up the street in Las Cruces. And he is absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. I could not think of a more gorgeous cat. And it was like $100 donation. And he has brought so much joy. So yes, stop breeding cats. You are not a breeder. If you got it from a breeder, they're a breeder. And if they know what they're doing, stop it. Stop. And always, if you are going to buy from a breeder that's reputable who will probably not let you breed your purchase. So now I want to get to know you because you did say you're a banker. So you're a banker and you ended up as the founder of Give Them 10, but you're also a cat lover. So there has to be something there where you were selected for this position?
Yeah, it just happened. It was life happening. I manage money for rich people by day for a bank. And one of my clients who had an awful lot of money in the family died young and left a private foundation in my care and the care of my bank. And this foundation had a set mission, which I had something to do with, that was to benefit cats in the Cincinnati area. That was the mission. It's a really, really narrow mission, and it's a huge pot of money. And so it was interesting. It was an interesting journey to take a bunch of business people and say, make sense out of this, business people. So really, I think that to me, the interesting part of this story is that for many years in the United States, there have been shelter systems. And for many years, cats have been killed in shelters for space. When we had this big pile of money and we were charged with helping cats in Cincinnati, we decided we don't want to just give every cat a bed and a phone. That's not going to solve a problem. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is cats are being killed in shelters. Why are cats being killed in shelters? Turns out there are too many cats. Why are there too many cats? That's when we landed on, okay, there are two things we concentrate on here: adoption or spay neuter. And spay neuter honestly had a lot more fun in terms of language, low hanging fruit. Get it? We had a lot more fun with the concept of snipping. It's hip to be snipped, right? So we decided to concentrate on spay neuter. And part of our money goes to talking to the public about it, because we also realize as business people, there's a problem here. The problem needs to be solved. If you don't engage the public, who are the people that cause the problem, because we created companion animals, we made these cats dependent on us on some level. We took their territory out in the wild. We moved them from their normal area into our cities. We have to take care of that. But if we don't talk to the public about it and ask for their help and demand their help, well, we're just going to keep chasing our tails, spinning our wheels, and we're never going to solve the problem. So part of our money goes, as we call it, into the air, into an advertising campaign, which is where we met Scooter the Neutered Cat as our spokescat. So we talk to the public in a funny, edgy, really cool way.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Scooter the Neutered Cat. Tell me about the evolution of Scooter the Neutered Cat.
Well, Scooter was born in about 2014, and he came to Cincinnati to help us with this problem and speak to the public on the airwaves. We started a campaign, and he was invented in the mind of a very creative soul. I'll say that. And we got him to wear hip spectacles, and he was neutered, so no testicles. And we put a sweater on him, and frankly spent a lot of money, and our first TV app with Scooter the Neutered Cat. So the evolution was that we really are trying to solve a problem, and we've largely solved it in our area. So we really are trying to move outside of Cincinnati now. Our only aim is to help cats and to help ensure that they are not killed in shelter systems everywhere. And they still are, to the tune of millions.
Yes.
Things were going pretty well right up to the pandemic. We have lost ground since the pandemic, sadly, for a number of reasons. But our only aim and Scooter's only goal is to help cats.
Amazing. Well, I want to take a break right here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some stats and some impressive improvements that we've seen in Cincinnati thanks to all of your campaigns. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with Give Them 10.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. And our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Covered in Pet Hair. I'm your host, Isabel Alvarez-Arada, and today I'm having a conversation with Deborah Cribbs, of Give Them 10, a movement to spay and neuter cats that started in the Cincinnati area and is making some waves. I am so happy to speak with you because I'm so passionate about spay and neuter. I do come from the Latin culture where there's a lot of myth and machismo surrounding spay and neuter and breeding and a lot of, I hate to say the word ignorance, but a lot of ignorance about what the repercussions are of not doing any of these things. So I want to play a game that keeps us up here, and then we're going to talk about the stats and the things that you guys can literally take to the bank about how well your campaign is working. So I want to play a game called Hip Spectacles, No Testicles, taking from, of course, the slogan that you all created for Scooter the Neutered Cat. I just want to get to know him, a little bit about who he is, his persona, what he does when he's not working, et cetera, et cetera. Are you ready to play?
Sure.
Let's do this. Did Scooter learn easily to wear sunglasses? Was that something that took time for him to accept, or is he just a fashionista?
You know, it's not a natural thing for a cat to want to put on spectacles.
Correct.
This is true. I mean, taking a step back, having Scooter neutering himself, getting neutered, he made that decision. He was all in. He understood that everything in his life would be better. He would be outside, inside, happy, maybe a tiny bit fat, all good. So the hip spectacles, that was more of a barrier. He didn't like them. They didn't feel natural on his face. But once he saw himself in them, I have to admit, it got much easier to ask him to please put them on.
Okay, so a fashionista was born, I feel like. That's really good to know. Does he like being the face of spay and neuter? Because obviously he made that decision himself, but it is putting out his medical history. Does he feel comfortable with that?
He does, because his goal is to serve the catosphere. That's all he wants to do. He very much believes that spay-neuter is the way to help the shelter system in the United States and to help cats and their people. So he is happy to be transparent with his audience. Yes.
I love that. That is so important when people share their cats, dogs, share their stories to help people understand from a different point of view. Does he like the slogan, spectacles, no testicles? Did you get his buy-in on that before you started running with it?
You know, we ran with that and he kind of caught up. He likes it.
I think it's fantastic.
Concerned with the glasses.
Yeah.
And then he kind of caught on to the language, but he's good with it all now. Yeah, it all works.
Amazing. And when he's, not promoting spay and neuter, what does he do on his downtime?
He sleeps.
That's pretty typical of a cat. So yeah, he's a cat. It's confirmed. So thank you so much for giving me some background on Scooter. I feel like I know him personally already. But when you guys started your work in 2013, the live release rate in Cincinnati was 37%. Now it's more than 96%. Can you tell us about that cat culture shift that you referred to and how did that even happen? How you made these amazing changes?
Sure. I mean, I'll say that partly what we did is talk to the public. And we talked to the public about community cats. And community cats are those cats that you see outside. And what we say is, if you're feeding a cat outside, great. Please make sure that cat is spay-neutered. Because otherwise, one way or another, there could be kittens from that cat. If you notice a cat who hangs out in your neighborhood and you're not feeding the cat, but you keep noticing the cat, take the responsibility. Look and see if they have an ear tip, a tiny little slice of their ear sliced off. That's a sign that they've been spay-neutered. So that's good. Let that cat go. Let that cat thrive. Right here she goes. If there's no ear tip, take that responsibility. Do that for the world. Do it for yourself. You don't want unneutered boy cats in your neighborhood spraying your houses. We've already talked about do it for your cats inside, but do it for your cats outside. So we started talking to the public, but mostly we're a funding organization. So we found great shelter partners that were already working. Maybe we help make them better, but we work with them. And on the ground, these shelters started community cat programs in all the areas where we fund. There are community cat programs. And you can go from a terrible live release rate where literally only 30% of the cats in the Cincinnati shelters were coming out alive. That's terrible. And it's happening still all over the United States. But in our area, no cat is killed for space anymore. Absolutely. And that's because the local shelters bought in. They're like, you're right. How can we do that? So we have consultants, we got experts, we get them to create a coalition. They band together, they help each other, they communicate daily sometimes. So a lot has gone into it. The short answer is we're engaging the public and we're working on the ground with the local shelter systems and creating community cat programs.
That's amazing because truly the shelters and rescues are so taxed and so overwhelmed, especially after the pandemic that, I mean, they don't just need funds. Sometimes they need the business people and the advertising people to like really help them because a love of cats is sadly not enough, right? Like it's just not enough sometimes. A huge campaign like this is so helpful. So tell us about other campaigns and other issues that you've all tackled in your area.
Well, during the pandemic, we did some local filming because, you had to figure out how to do something very, very close to home, right? And we did a campaign called The Mild Kingdom. And that was where we really talked to the public just about local cats that they might see. We do a lot of digital work and we talk a lot about fostering. Like you said, in the shelters, okay, sure, you can give them money. That's great. You might want to donate your time, volunteer, help clean out litter boxes, help pet cats so that they are used to humans, help take care of kittens and feed them, all kinds of things that you can do. But we talk a lot about fostering. The best thing for a cat is not to enter a shelter. So if you have fosters that can take in, say, a litter of kittens until they're big enough to get them fixed and then put them into the shelter system to be adopted. And kittens are pretty easy to adopt out. That's really helpful. Fosters are heroes in shelters. So we have lots of different campaigns. We've got really great advertising. They're so fun. I mean, they're really, really funny ads. And what we're doing right now, we've been going around, including this great podcast right here, and saying, we've spent a lot of money over the last decade creating some very professional ad campaigns, and we're willing to license those campaigns for almost nothing and help a little bit with the marketing too. If any shelter systems want to come to us to do that, check out our website, givethem10.org, because we're really willing to let you use all of our stuff to help spread the message. And we want Scooter to live in different towns, cities around the country. He's already in a bunch of different places. He's in Iowa, he's in Georgia, he's in Hawaii. We want Scooter to live anywhere he wants to be. So check out our ad campaigns. If anybody out there listening is part of a shelter system, or tell somebody who is, because it's a pretty darn good deal.
That's amazing. I was just going to ask you what's next for Give Them 10, but I feel like you just told us you are open to anywhere in the U.S.
We are willing to look at any shelter that asks us to. We will look at who they are, what they do, and see if it's a fit to start using our campaigns. We have digital campaigns, we have poster board, billboard campaigns, we have TV ad campaigns, we've got radio, and we are willing to license that for almost nothing, just so the message gets out.
That is amazing. Even state-funded shelters and such, like you work together with all that bureaucracy that I'm sure comes with it?
Absolutely.
That is so cool.
Take a look, see if you're interested, ask us, and we'll start talking to you.
That is so cool. Well, I want to propose a toast to you and your team for doing such amazing work, to all the shelters you work with, the partners, the people of Cincinnati who've obviously embraced the culture change in terms of spay and neuter. Here's to you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me talk about it. We are passionate about cats here.
Yes, I can tell. And I think what you're doing is so important. And I love that there's a business and strategic planning behind it, because you know that that's always going to make it go even further. Love is unfortunately not enough. I also want to propose a toast to my executive producer, Mark Winter. Thank you, Mark, for always allowing me to do these awesome interviews, and to our audience for joining us for these awesome conversations. Here's to a life covered in pet hair, because there's no better way to live. Cheers. To learn more about Covered in Pet Hair, please visit coveredinpethair.com or petliferadio.com. And don't forget to spay or neuter, please, please, please. On behalf of me and Deborah and Scooter the Neutered Cat, we beg you, please spay and neuter. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.